I'm going to take a bit of a detour here real quick on this video and talk a bit more about women and their love of power and their attraction to power and strength. You know, how many men out there want to stay with a woman as long as they're not married, where they can just walk away, who's gained 50 or 100 pounds? How many men, honestly, you know, who meets a woman who's nice and attractive and 130 pounds and 5'6" or 7" or something, 120 pounds, 5'4", you know, and then he's with her, and then over the year or two she gains 100 pounds. How many men really want to be with her anymore? Not many. And a lot of men are going to walk away. They're going to leave. Okay, that's just the way that is. If you're married, you're stuck with it. You got to go through courts to get rid of her. But you know, if you're not, you're going to walk away. You're going to say, "Hey, I don't. That's not what I opted in for here." Excuse me. A lot of them are going to take umbrage to that. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. You know, I mean, in the background, this is one of these videos where if you're a woman, you may not like what I have to say, but what I'm saying is the truth. I had the opportunity to work with hundreds of men when I used to belong to a club, martial arts club, and you know, over the years, talked to a lot of men about their feelings. We didn't have time about relationships and women oftentimes afterwards. And I'm telling you, men do not like fat women. They do not like it. And they just are disgusted by it. I mean, if women knew how disgusted men are by fat women, it would just amaze them. And the men who were married to them, you know, had to put up with it because they didn't want to go through divorce, lose their children, lose a bunch of money, lose half their stuff, alimony, child support. But a lot of the men who were with fat women, we're planning an escape, or we're just using them for the time being for sex. Likewise, how many times have I seen in my life, and in the media, but also I've seen this up close and personal a couple of times in my own area. People I've known. I don't want to name any names, but I've known one guy, for instance, who had a loving wife, who loved sex, loved him, adored him, worshipped him. He was a strong guy. You know, he was not an abusive man, but a strong man who had strength, internal strength. But he got very ill. He became very ill in a lifetime way where he wasn't going to get better. He became weak, physically weak. You know, it was very sad. And when that happened, his wife left him. Her explanation later on was, well, when he got like that, I just fell in love with him. I couldn't do it anymore. And what she's really saying, and it really made me kind of sick, really, that this guy was just abandoned this way. It just made me actually kind of sick. Still does. She just abandoned him, you know, took off, abandoned him. That was it. Divorced him. Left him to his own devices. It made me kind of sick, and still does, but honestly I don't hate on her for it, because once again, the science and the rule here is women are attracted and love power. That's what attracts them to men, is a man's power. He'd lost all of his power. And on top of losing his health and his physical strength, because of being more dependent on her instead of being taking care of her, and he became dependent on her. And he started giving in to a lot of crazy demands. You know, over a series of years. Pretty soon he would just he would just give in to every crazy whim, and that was the end. That was done. The end of the relationship. I used to see shows when I was younger, TV shows where a man would be with a woman in some TV show, and he'd lose his job, but he wouldn't tell her. He was a well-to-do man. And he would go out every day. You know, see, I've seen this in lots of different shows. He'd go out every day and pretend to go to his job, but in fact, he wasn't. He was going to a park somewhere with his briefcase and his tie. You know, he didn't have a job anymore. But he didn't tell his wife. And that I was used to when I was younger and didn't know any better. It really struck me as very strange that one man would do that. Why would a man do that? Why not just tell his wife he's unemployed? And, well, the reason is because this man knows instinctively that he loses that job, that power, he's going to lose the wife. He loves her, doesn't want to lose her, so he just lies about it. That's what he's doing. And if you think about it in your life, you actually look at your life and think about this honestly, if you don't know all of this, you'll see that's the case too. When a man loses his power and his strength and becomes weak and dependent on a woman, rather than being someone who can take care of a woman, at least have money to spend on a woman or whatever, that's going to be it for him. That's just the way it's going to be. Think about that. Some of you may disagree. That's okay. Just do it politely, please. And again, I'm not saying women don't love. I'm not saying we don't love men dearly. But they need, just as men, you know, we love women when we're with them. But if a woman stops having sex with us, it's like, I'm out. You know, you might still love her. I know women right now I wouldn't have sex with that I used to be in love with, and I still love them. I still fond of them. You know, but I'm not going to have sex with them anymore for a variety of reasons. One of which is because they gained a lot of weight. And that's just the way it is. Anyway, that's it for this video. The next video, I'm going to go where I was going to go after the other video. And we'll talk about the next subject, what to do about all of this as a man.